I have to say it was pretty hard waking up this morning. We were still tired from all the walking we did yesterday, so we wanted to take it easy today. Well, at least that's what we wanted to do. Anyway, today we'll be going to a few popular spots here such as the Dublin Castle, St. Patricks Cathedral, the Guinness Storehouse, and a few other landmarks like the National Leprechaun Museum that we've been constantly having trouble seeing. But first, as always, we're going to have breakfast. And it didn't take us that long to find this restaurant here in Temple Bar. Well, that's because their sign says Dublin's best breakfast, and we wanted to see if it's true. The restaurant wasn't that big inside, as you can see. It was actually pretty small, but somehow I felt really comfortable and welcomed here. I think it's because the staff were really friendly, and also this guy who I think was the owner, talking to all the customers, making us feel welcomed. It's funny, I haven't even tried their food yet. I already love this place. For breakfast, alright, so we're gonna go with the Irish breakfast for the both of us. I was surprised to see Irish breakfast on the menu. I mean, the only reason why we ordered this was because we both had a full English breakfast before, and we're kind of curious to see what the difference is between them. Anyway, as we waited for the food, we had some tea. I mean, super hot tea, which was perfect because I remember it was really cold that day.
It's like English breakfast, English tea.
So this is the Irish breakfast, or the full Irish breakfast. I have to say it looks almost like a full English breakfast. As you can see, it has fried eggs on top of butter and toast, some baked beans, or as I like to call it, pork and beans, that probably came from a can. Right in the middle are two sausages, and next to it, those flat patty looking things are most likely sausages as well. I think the black one is blood sausage, and the light colored one is white pudding, I'm not sure. Oh, and of course, fried bacon or ham. The first thing I did, I went straight for the egg. I just had to make sure it's nice and runny. The egg was good, especially with the buttered toast, and mixing it with beans wasn't so bad as well, although it needed some salt. You know, I'm still not getting used to calling this bacon. It tastes just like ham. It was good, same as a sausage. Although it's funny, I still prefer the sausage in the US. You know, the ones you get from McDonald's. Anyway, this is definitely blood sausage, or black pudding as they call it here. I'm not sure where this originated, but you'll still see this in countries all over the world. And yes, it's made of animal blood. The texture was creamy, and the flavor was actually better than I expected. It had no bloody or gamey flavor to it. You know, the full Irish or English breakfast is a very common meal in the UK as well as here in Ireland. I think they even serve this all day. This dish dates back to the 13th century, where it became a tradition for people to serve a hearty meal for breakfast, and eventually it became a national dish for both England and Ireland. The ingredients vary from different regions, but it's generally made of eggs, bacon, sausage, toast, and beans. Anyway, this dish was actually pretty good. The eggs were perfectly cooked. The beans were cooked okay, but I really like the black and white pudding though. Now the bacon, if it's just like the bacon we have in the US, then this whole thing would have been perfect. So after breakfast, we're gonna cross the Millennium Bridge and then go to the, what is that place? The Leprechaun Museum, which we missed yesterday. So we're gonna head to that place right now. So we're back at the Leprechaun Museum, or the National Leprechaun Museum, and we're hoping that they're open right now. So they're supposed to be open at 10, and it's about 10:30. So let's check it out. So the tour is about, what they explained to us is the tour is a guided tour, and it starts at 11, and we don't really have time right now to go wait for it. And we can't do a private tour because that's the only way. So we're gonna try and do it later this afternoon and before 5. So if we get here before 5, we're gonna get a private tour. And but now we're gonna go to our next stop, which is part of our itinerary. We're gonna go to, I don't know if it's the Dublin Castle, but we're gonna go to the next spot. We actually headed towards the Dublin Castle, and along the way we passed by this building. This is the National Photographic Archive. It's an exhibition gallery that showcases a collection of photos from the National Library of Ireland. I'm not sure what the photos are about, but I'm assuming it's about the country's history. The archive was opened in 1998, and it regularly features a program of exhibitions. And if I'm not mistaken, I think you can see the exhibitions for free. Not far from the National Photographic Archive, we came across this place. It's called the Irish Film Institute. It's basically a movie theater that supports the Irish film heritage. This place has maintained an archive of Irish films, and it also provides education in film culture. I don't know if we should go up there, but probably not. At least I can say I'm here. There's supposed to be a museum here for the police. It's called Garda Museum. And I don't know if it's this building right here. But what's funny is that I think, because we're gonna go to the castle, the Dublin Castle, and I think that's the castle right there. I'm not sure, but I know the castle is around here somewhere. We're gonna go walk around a little bit more. The Dublin Castle, which is that building in the center, was built after the Norman invasion of Ireland in 1169. Although most of the structures you see here are from the 18th century, but the original castle stood here since the days of King John, who was the first Lord of Ireland and the King of England from 1199 to 1216. Anyway, within the castle complex, you'll find the Chester Beatty Library, the Revenue Museum, the Treasury Building, which is, by the way, this building right here, and the Garda Museum I was talking about that exhibits the police history in Ireland is just right behind this building. Okay, I guess this is the castle. This is the Dublin Castle. So we're gonna go around to get a better view of the castle. Well, I thought it was a better view of the castle, but instead we found the Bedford Tower, which is where the Irish crown jewels were stolen in 1907 and never recovered. Anyway, in front of the tower along this square is the entrance to the Castle Museum. So the moment you enter the castle, you'll find the admissions area. Here you can purchase a guided tour for about 12 euros and a self-guided tour for only 8. I always get the self-guided tour, not only because it's cheaper, but it also gives me more freedom to film. Well, at least for the places you're allowed to. So for the first part of the tour is the Grand Staircase. This was built in 1749, making it the first grand staircase in Dublin. The staircase leads to the state apartments where balls, dinners, and ceremonies were held. And I've read since 1938, it's been the main ceremonial route used for the inauguration of the President of Ireland. From the staircase, I spotted this room where I noticed a group of people having their own private tour. I figured there's probably something about the room, so we checked it out. It's the James Connolly room. And I don't know even know who that guy is, but I'm gonna talk about it right now. James Connolly was famously known as one of the leaders of the Easter Rising of 1916. In case you didn't know, the Easter Rising of 1916 was the most significant uprisings in Ireland. It was a violent revolution by the Irish people to end the British rule in Ireland and establish an independent Irish republic. Anyway, after being captured, John Connolly was kept in this room while he was treated for his injuries he suffered while fighting. Eventually, he was sentenced to death by a firing squad at Kilmainham Jail, where he died. Oh, look, his bed. So pretty cool is that window right there. You can see the garden. We're gonna go there later so we can get a better view of the castle. Oh wow, look at this room. It's actually a hallway called the State Corridor. It was built in 1758 and it's used as a ceremonial walkway for the new President of Ireland when being sworn into office. You would think that the President of Ireland would reside here, but they don't. The President actually resides at Phoenix Park, as we saw yesterday. The castle served many roles throughout history. It was originally built as a defensive fort and later served as the official residence of the Lord Lieutenant of Ireland from 1690 to 1922. Now it's used as a venue for the inauguration of the President, as well as hosting state visits, foreign affair engagements, state banquets, and as a museum. Anyway, from the corridor, we came to this room. It's called the Apollo Room. What's the name of this room? Look at the ceiling. This room is really known for its ceiling, designed with a figure of the Greek god Apollo. I couldn't find any
this
information
room is
regarding the
called
function of this room.
Apollo
It's
room.
probably used as a living room where people sit, relax, and talk. The room is not that big, so I'm guessing it's mostly used as a private room.
It's weird being here. Almost feels like in the movies and stuff. It must have felt like those old movies, or like not the old movies, but the movies that have the theme of like 17th century and stuff. But that room right there is really cool though. Right there.
This room is called the State Drawing Room. I've always wondered what a state drawing room is. So after reading this, I found out that it's a term used when people would draw or transfer to a bigger room in a house after eating dinner. Anyway, this room was created in 1838 and was used by the wives of the viceroys, or the wives of the rulers at that time when they hold affairs or functions here in the castle. It's actually still being used by the president as a reception for visiting dignitaries. I also found out that in 1941, this room was mostly destroyed by fire and reconstructed using salvaged and replicated furnishings. The room felt really big. I could just imagine all those important people who came here and gathered throughout the years.
Here's another room.
So from the drawing room, we entered the throne room.
Wow.
This room was created in 1788 and was used as the main area for royal ceremonies in Ireland. The throne, as you can see here, was made in 1821 for King George IV, who was the King of Great Britain and Ireland from 1820 to 1830. It was also used by Queen Victoria and King Edward VII.
So this is the throne room. It obviously is where the king sits. But what's really cool about it is that the chair is huge. It's pretty big. It's a big chair.
By the way, the last monarch to use the throne was King George V in 1911.
It says right there in the card, "I am old and delicate. Please do not sit on me." Alright, from the throne room, we're gonna go to the dining table, or the dining room.
This is actually called the Portrait Gallery. Although the main function was the dining room, it got its name because of the collection of portraits or paintings of the Irish viceroys that hangs on the wall. The viceroys, I found out, are the Lord Lieutenants of Ireland. They were the rulers of the country back in 1541 to 1800. They're basically representatives of the King of England. Many lavish dinners happen here. Some of them have 36 different dishes per course. They probably sat here all day eating and drinking until they finished all that food.
Look at that. Although I think those are the kings. Yeah, they are. It's pretty cool. Look at the there's a emblem right there. It's the logo for Guinness.
It's funny, as I noticed the emblem of Ireland, one of the security staff gave me a short history about it. He said that the harp emblem was taken from the famous Guinness logo. Now, I'm not sure how accurate that information is, but all I know is that both logos are the same, except they're registered facing on different sides. So moving on the tour, we entered this room.
Wow. Oh my gosh. This room is huge. Look at this. They have like frescoes up there. Let's see what room this is. It's right there. Let's see what it is.
This is the St. Patrick's Hall. This is one of the most important ceremonial rooms here, as well as the whole country of Ireland. This is where the President of Ireland is inaugurated every 7 years. It's by far the grandest and oldest room in the castle. It used to be a ballroom, but now it's only used for the inauguration and if ever the president dies in office. This is where they'll place the body for the wake. Anyway, aside from the size of this room, I guess for me, the most significant thing about St. Patrick's Hall are the paintings on the ceiling. It just gives the room a grand feeling about it.
See, the emblem is right there.
I'm so focused on that emblem, I don't even know what this chair is for. But it sits right in the middle of the room, close to the wall. I'm assuming it's where the president sits during the inauguration.
There's another room right here. There we go. Look at this room. Check out this room. Wow, they have like massive paintings of queens and kings. I don't know who these people are. They must be important. I like the flag.
This is the Gothic Room. It was created as a dining room that hosts dinners and entertainment venues. Although it might look small, but it's said that it could hold up to 60 people in here.
I don't see anything Gothic about this room, but that's what it's called. What is this room? Oh my god. This is the modern room. They have all the...
So this is the last room, or at least the last room on our self-guided tour. It's called the Wedgwood Room. It was created in 1777 as a lobby to the Gothic Room until 1836, when it was converted into a billiard room. Looking at the picture, I thought this was an indoor garden, but as I found out, it was only transformed into a garden during the St. Patrick's Day Ball of 1848. So going through all the rooms we're allowed to visit inside the castle, that pretty much ends our tour here.
Oh, we're back. We're back at the dining table room. So I guess that's the castle. We're gonna go down now and check out the garden.
So this is the castle gardens. Coming out here, you'll notice the circular lawn right in the middle, designed as a helicopter pad. The patterns you see in the lawn represent sea serpents, forming what I think is some kind of a Celtic symbol. In this garden, you'll find memorials dedicated to people, social events, and most notably the Garda Memorial, which is solely dedicated to the Irish police killed in the line of duty. You know, a pool once existed under this site, which joined the River Poddle and the River Liffey. This pool was called Dark Pool or Black Pool. In Irish, it's called Dublin, which is in this case the city of Dublin got its name. Throughout its history, this castle was severely damaged by fire in 1673 and in 1684. Causing it to have no medieval buildings that remains above ground today, except the Great Record Tower you see right there in the middle, which dates back to 1228. The castle had its share of scandals, had the Irish crown jewels stolen here in 1907, and on the night of Bloody Sunday in 1920, 3 Irish Republican Army members were tortured and killed here. When the Irish Free State was established in 1922, the castle stopped functioning as an administrative building, although it still served temporarily as the course of justice since the building got destroyed. The castle eventually ended up being used for state ceremonies and the museum as what you see today. So now that we're done with the castle, right next to it is the Chester Beatty Library, which is also a museum. It was established in 1958, which houses the collection of Sir Chester Beatty, who was an American mining magnate, philanthropist, and one of the most successful businessmen of his generation. It displays manuscripts, paintings, prints, drawings, and rare books. We decided not to go in because we still have a lot of places to see that day.
So this is the library here, the Chester Beatty Library. We're not gonna go inside though, so.
From the library, passing the castle steps, we made our way to St. Patrick's Park. This park was developed in 1897 and completed in 1904. If you didn't know, St. Patrick is the primary patron saint of Ireland. That's why St. Patrick's Day, which is said to be the date of his death, is always associated with the Irish. It's not known exactly the dates of St. Patrick's life, but majority of people agree that his missionary work started in the 5th century, and he was credited to be the founder of Christianity in Ireland. Anyway, this park is not that big, but it's fairly known because it's considered to be the site where St. Patrick baptized the first Irish Christians, and it's located right next to the famous church, which is the St. Patrick's Cathedral.
Alright, so this is St. Patrick's Park, and we're actually looking for Havel's place. It's like a table, chairs and stuff, but that's St. Patrick's Cathedral right there. We're gonna go inside that right now, but let me look for the bench first. I think it's somewhere here. Alright, so I found it. This is Havel's place. I've read that it's dedicated to the last president of the Czech Republic. It's an artwork, basically.
Havel's place, which I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is a public art created as a memorial dedicated to the last president of Czechoslovakia and the first president of the Czech Republic, who was Václav Havel. The artwork is meant to represent Havel and his democratic views, as the two chairs symbolizes a democratic debate, and the tree in the middle of the table is the national tree of the Czech Republic. Inscribed along the rim of the table is a quote from Havel that says, "Truth and love shall prevail over lies and hatred." I just thought of checking this out because in a few days we'll be going to Prague, which is the capital of Czech Republic. St. Patrick's Cathedral was founded in 1191. It's considered to be the national cathedral of Ireland, and it's also the largest in the country. Its history is so complicated my brain just refuses to comprehend it. I just gave up reading about it. From the pre-Reformation period to the Reformation period, all the way to the 17th, 18th, and 19th century, it's just way too much information. All I can say though is that if you're here in Dublin, don't miss seeing this cathedral, because it's really significant.